my name is Sean Ennis from Ennis Management, and welcome once again to the Creative Collective. Today I got a special guest, rapper, producer from Chisabee, Quebec, CJAY GriZ.
Hey, yo, what's up? What's up? CJAY GriZ here, representing Paul Star family and Region N. How's it going?
Hey, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah. It's good to be here.
So, where are you from?
I'm from a place, it's called Chisabee, Quebec, Chisasibi, Quebec. It's, I'd say it's like about 1,600 kilometers north of Montreal.
Okay, alright. And I really like your stage name. Can you tell me how that came about?
Oh, CJAY GriZ. My name is Christian John, my real name, and that's where the CJ comes from. I didn't realize that I was a CJ, not till after Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I was like, oh, CJ, I like that name, and then I realized, oh, I'm CJ. But the GriZ part is I went through a lot of different names, I went through CJXL, CJ Soldier, and I just really needed to find one that fitted. And one day I was like, I like the GriZ because I used to wear grills when I was when I was about 16, 15, and people would call me Mr. Grills, and so kind of like a little bit of that, CJAY GriZ without the L's.
And how long have you been practicing your craft?
Oh my God, it's between 10 and 13 years now. I produced. How do I say this? I started rapping first, and then I started producing, and then I started singing after that. It all came in different parts.
And what genre of music do you consider your work to be?
Mainly hip hop. A lot of different hip hop stuff. I like lo-fi stuff. I like trap stuff, the wavy trap stuff, the old school boom bap stuff. Pretty much anything. I'm a big fan of hip hop.
And do you have an earliest memory involving music?
I think my earliest memory, would probably be long time ago. I was probably 10 or something, 10, 11. The movie 8 Mile came out, and I don't know, rap battle just seemed so fun. And I remember me and my friend, we watched that movie, and after that we just let's battle each other. So we started just coming up with these really stupid, lame stuff. That's probably my first attempt at trying to rap.
I mean, when the movie 8 Mile came out, I'm from New England, Boston, and that movie had such a major impact. I remember everyone wanted to start rap battling.
Exactly, yeah, and I guess that's the same impact that reached out to me. Everybody wanted to do that, and everybody was like, oh, Eminem, and Eminem was so big, so he's an obvious influence to me too.
And who are some of your other major musical influences besides Eminem?
I really like Eazy-E. I say Bone Thugs is really a big influence because I used to listen to them a lot, and reciting their lyrics all the time. I used to print their lyrics off from the internet, and I would try to recite a bunch of their lyrics, and then I think that contributed later in my rap skill because there are songs where I rap kind of in a fast flow. So I think that's definitely you can hear a lot of Bone Thugs in me.
And the group Bone Thugs and Harmony, their style of how they kind of mix that fast rhythm-paced rapping with melodies, that was such a far into the future type of style that I think a lot of artists today can kind of emulate and trace back to that.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally feel that way too because when you listen to people like Crazy Bone, he sings at the same time too. He sings and he does the rap thing, and that's why I think that's how I transitioned into singing after, because I started to notice that I'm starting to sing more and rap less.
And so let's talk about producing. So you started rapping and then started producing. What kind of led you down that path?
Well, when I started rapping, I had a buddy who was he'd always like provide me instrumentals, and I had no idea where these instrumentals came from either. And he'd provide me some of them, and some of them were just like obvious, like they're like instrumentals of like popular songs. And then I was just like, I'm not, if I want to release something real, I couldn't like get on an instrumental and claim it as my own. And that's kind of like, I was like, maybe what if I produced my own beats? And it was definitely around the time too when Soulja Boy came out, and like his song there, Crank That, was one of the things was people knew was that it was produced entirely on FL Studio, the demo version. And that's kind of what, like, maybe I can produce my own beat too.
And what's some of the softwares that you've used to produce your original music?
These days I use Logic Pro X. It's I really like it. I think a lot of people use it. A lot of my friends use it, and but I do use FL Studio and Ableton still. And I don't record in like any major like big studio places right now. I'm like a bedroom producer, and but I have mics and all that stuff. I've always thought investing in myself was something that would help me get out there more. Like definitely investing in yourself always is a big priority if you're going to be an artist.
That's such an important point, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think a lot of artists get to a point where, you really have to believe in yourself to spend your own money on your dream. And I think there's so many artists that are looking for angel investors or someone to believe in their dream and invest their money before they're willing to do it. And that right there is what stops a lot of artists from reaching their dreams and progressing and making it really to that next level.
Yes, for sure. That is definitely true. But also, with a lot of artists need to know is like a lot of the stuff is accessible now. The resources are there. Like that, I didn't have that like 10 years ago. It was like a little bit harder to acquire all these things. And I had to like really like look for like the cheapest stuff or free stuff.
I completely agree. I would say for the music industry 10, 15, 20 years ago, distribution was the biggest challenge for musicians trying to make and create their own music. I would say today the biggest challenge for musicians is attention. How do you get people to care once you put your music out onto the social media platforms or onto the streaming sites? How do you get people to pay attention to your videos on YouTube?
I just say, being very unique and, being true to yourself, especially because especially there's a lot of music out today, and it's hard to like not sound like the next person. But there's just a lot of things that you just really need to build. I think building relationships too is really important too if you want to really get out there. Because I've started this year, I've actually started connecting with people that are helping me build myself. And I met Travis and Craig from Mob Bounce. They're really two cool guys, and they've just been behind me 100%. And I've met a couple other people that have been helping me become who I need to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Networking is really big in terms of the music industry. So let me ask you, what initially made you want to be an artist and make your own original music?
I don't know. I've always been a part of I've always been fascinated with entertainment in general. I remember when I was a kid, I used to just watch MTV and Rap City, and could watch it for hours as a kid. And I also do stand-up comedy too. I've opened for Don Bernstick before, and I've done really small comedies too in areas. But yeah, I just think I just like entertaining in general. I've always been that way. I've always like, even in school, I was always like the class clown and stuff. I always felt like like I love doing stuff that's creative and in front of people, stuff like that. But yeah.
And can you describe your first music performance?
I say yeah, because I started. I didn't actually have real any releases for a long time, and then I got on this platform. It's called Norwegian, and it's by this guy. His name is David Hodges. He's a great producer, and he went around the communities. It's called the James Bay. It's like a set of 9 communities and their reserves, and he went around there and he produced a song in every community, and I was we produced the song, and it was called I Believe. It's on iTunes, and what was crazy is it just was out of nowhere. It was just so out of nowhere, and it turned into an album, and then he turned that into a company, and now Norwegian runs all over Canada. But yeah, after we made that song, that's kind of what propelled me to actually release music and professionally, because I used to just make beats and keep them to myself. But David Hodges is definitely one person that really believed in me as an artist, and he's still behind my music today. And yeah, but yeah, I performed in Montreal at the Place des Arts. It was a pretty small. Well, it was a pretty small performance, but it was still had a nice crowd, and we still kind of rocked the show.
And can you talk about some of your past challenges in terms of releasing music?
Yeah, definitely, because I've tried to release an album before. It was going to be called Ill Villages, but there was just a lot of creative difficulties with the producer and I, and that's just financially, because that was kind of intimidating, trying to acquire funding, trying to get the proper promotion, and it was one of my first attempts at releasing something, and it just completely fell flat. So I couldn't even go on with that. So after that, I just tried releasing other things. I had plans for other things, but it's just a lot of those didn't really come to fruition at all. They're just ideas that stayed in limbo.
And what would be one thing that you learned from going through those trials and tribulations of releasing music before that's now kind of helped you with your upcoming release?
I said, I just needed the right people too, because like I said, when I met that guy Mac, he just is so inspirational. He's a blind kid, and we immediately just became great buddies, and we had all these plans, and I just think having great people would really, I needed that, especially people on the same wavelength, the same level as me, in terms of what I want to release versus what I want it to sound like. And yeah, that producer definitely was one partner that I would keep making music with.
Could you briefly describe the music making process?
Well, for me, I make my own beats, and it's I put a couple of beats out on BeatStars, but for me it's just making beats and writing lyrics. I'm either doing one or the other, or I'm doing it at the same time. But for this album, it's different, because I'm not a producer at all, and I'm just letting him be the producer. So he just sends me something, and the track that I want to promote is called Chill Waters, and he just sent me that he sent me that last week, and then immediately 2 days later I already had everything recorded on my end. So it's he's all the way in northern Manitoba, and I'm over here in northern Quebec, but we're just linking up digitally, and it's going really great, because I really feel the beats that he's made, and it goes well with the style that I'm trying to convey, and Yeah, he's really quick at how because he's all ear. As a blind person, he probably like just needs his ears, and like he's super good at like hearing that mainstream type sound.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see video of him creating his production.
Yeah, yeah. That I would. It's a really crazy process when I met him. You know, like we were all just like fascinated. You know, like he just knows what to. He knows what to do. You know, he doesn't. But it doesn't. He's. I'd say that, you know, like he's a great kid. He's a great guy at heart too. He's kind. And, you know, he's just a guy that wants to make music just like any one of us.
And so, what are some of the differences in making music, the songs that you self-produce, or when you're doing the vocals over another producer's music?
I wouldn't say, because like for me, like I still have like a lot of challenges when making beats and stuff like that. I still face a lot of that. And even though I've been doing it for like 10 years, I'm still learning a lot. But with writing, you know, I do that like with ease. You know, I've been doing all types of writing. I write for like the news articles. I write news articles. I write jokes, and I write stories and stuff like that. So writing has never been a problem for me. So whenever I'm featuring on someone else's track, you know, I immediately feel the ideas. You know, just as long as there's a solid idea, I can immediately, you know, like get that off the ground.
What inspires you to make music?
You know, like I noticed like I had like when I first started, I used to just like talk about like a lot of nonsense. I used to try to emulate what I was hearing. You know, like I was like listening to a lot of G-Unit and like Tupac, and I was like, oh wait, that's not even like my type of lifestyle. So, you know, like I was like, and then as I started going more as an artist, I was like, okay, you know, like what are the everyday things that I go through, and what are some things. So, you know, like especially these days, like a lot of things that I go through is like depression and anxiety, and like I really like to touch on subjects like that, and I really feel inspired by just being able to relate to what people are saying. And I feel like that's like kind of like a good trend that's happening today, because if you listen to like Logic or like Kid Cudi, they touch on a lot of like issues like that, or Juice World, you know. So a lot of like personal problems, issues, stuff like that.
And this is something that I find fascinating. So can you expand a little bit more on this? What are the main themes or topics in most of your songs?
You know, like I said, you know, like I do like talking about like my childhood or my teenagehood. I like this I like to like reminisce in some of my songs, like, oh, back then this, or back then, remember that. And that's definitely a lot of things I say. But a lot of most themes are just like basically feeling good, and, you know, like motivating yourself. Because that's a lot. If you listen to like a lot of the Nuijanan songs that they have released, it's all that. It's all uplifting music, and I'm really trying to like kind of gravitate in that direction, but to a more like I don't know how to say, because they do a lot of like clean music, but I like to like for me, you know, I like really like I wouldn't say like explicit, but I would say more like just being true to myself.
And that's something that I feel is really important for an artist to connect with an audience, is really that authenticity, being yourself.
Yeah, being myself for sure. Like, even if it means like touching on really like dark subjects or harsh, you know, like subjects like that, I think it's important to like talk about those things too, even if it means like even in an angry way or a sad way. You know, just people will relate to that. And, you know, I've seen like if you like, there's a video of what's his name, IDK, and like where he's like performing, and he stops mid performance because like this guy is crying, and he asks him why, because he just related to the song that much, and, you know, he just showed him some love. and that's crazy. And I would like to have that type of impact on people.
Yeah, man, music is really powerful, especially as an artist. When you speak your truth and you have people really connect to it, that's really the power of music.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about what makes you different from other artists.
Yeah, what makes me different from other artists is, well, like, I don't know. I like, what makes me different is like what makes me like not different, because like I like to be universal. I'm very versatile, so I feel like a chameleon sometimes when I'm on a beat, because you know, sometimes I'll sound like this, but I won't sound like that on the next song or something like you know, I'll be on like on an old school hip hop beat sounding like I'm Big L, and then the next song I'll be sounding like I'm Nav or The Weeknd. That's pretty. I don't know how I do that. It's pretty crazy. And what else? I do like produce a lot of my own music, and I use a lot of the same things that a lot of producers use: Omnisphere, Splice, all that stuff. And but you know, I say that's a lot of things that people are doing these days, is being a producer and also being a writer at the same time, and I fall into that category very well. And yeah, and also like I'm really trying to do a lot of like I said, background things too, like trying to establish a scene. I'm trying to help other artists out there, you know, giving them, helping them find resources, helping them release songs, and I'm really trying to connect, really trying to put my hand out there, you know. I also like teach beat making. I've taught beat making in the high schools. That was I did a residency with the CJAY. It was pretty crazy. It was like 6 weeks. We taught kids how to use computers and stuff like that. So you know, I'm really like trying to be in the communities as well. You know, like being out there and trying to help kids find passion and stuff like that.
And is that something you enjoy, working with kids and giving back to the community?
Yes, definitely, because yeah, I do at least see a lot of like impact with that, because I see a lot of success too, because like there's a lot of these, because like I didn't have that growing up, you know. I was definitely self-taught in producing, and I didn't have that growing up. Like we had a music program, but it was just a basic music class that just taught the basics. But I was grateful to have like people that pushed me more towards what I really wanted to do. But like I said, I had to learn a lot of it on my own. But it's great to have now that there's programs like CJAY, and it's like in the high schools now. It's being commissioned by the high schools, and it's CJAY and Regionan, and now kids have access to like making beats, video making, rapping, recording, all that. I just love being a part of it.
And going back for a moment to your music style, do you feel having such a wide variety of musical influences has had an effect on your original music that you make?
Yeah, I definitely say do, because like I'm really trying to like find my own styles and find my own things. But there are times where like especially when I sent that track back to my producer, and he was like, "Yo, do you listen to this?" I forget who he said, but like I did, like once I started re-listening to myself, I was like, okay, I do kind of sound like that. But I do like sometimes like I notice like a rap, like a certain rapper using the same type of flow, and I think I do that subconsciously sometimes. I don't know. But yeah, but I do try to balance myself, so you know, like, but music is like that, you know. Music is always being influenced by everything and everywhere.
And why was singing and more melodies something that you decided you want to add to your music arsenal?
I think just naturally, because like you know, like I've always had like problems sometimes writing, and especially like when I would do, like I was like heavily doing rap music before, and it was just hard for me to like write catchy like rap hooks. And then I was like, you know what, sounds better if I sing rap hooks, and then that's just how it kind of like just came naturally, and like I started like I guess through rapping I was able to like control my voice. Like I didn't, and like just like one day noticed like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at controlling my voice when I sing. So like I just starting to build on that skill after.
And did you go to school for music?
No, I didn't go to school for music at all. I've always learned off like, my friends. Like I said, I worked with Paul in the past, and he's been a great mentor for me. Like in terms of like producing beats, how to release beats, and whenever I have like a small little problem, I'd ask him, and because he went to school for music, and I feel like that's how a lot of producers are. They learn from their peers too. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I just had like great people that were musicians as friends, and I've always been like a creative mind. So like I've always like doing things like that. So yeah, like another mentor would be like David Hodges. He's another guy that I really look up to, like in terms of how music is promoted, how it's released, and the whole like the reasons behind music making is definitely a great influence on me.
And can you talk about some of the work you've done with him and how he's influenced your music career?
He's just always been there ever since I met him. He definitely showed me like, oh, music can be made with heart, with originality, and it can come from a great place. And that's, I've always like, when I make music, I'm always like between two different things, like I'm always like, should I make like good music for people to hear, or should I make like what I want to hear? And I think listening to the type of music he makes is really like, it feels true, it feels authentic, and it really has that pop mainstream sound, and I really love that. And I featured on the first Norwegian album. It's called EU Ishti, and what's crazy is like when that album came out, it went on iTunes Canada #1, and it got the #1 spot for like a week, and then it started going up after, and I featured on 2 songs on that album, I Believe, and a song called Wolves. And I Believe was actually like there was like 2 songs that were like the singles on that album, and I Believe was definitely one of them. And after that song was made, there was a request to make a music video for it. So it was the very first music video that Norwegian made, because like now the work that they do, they follow that same format where they go to community, they work with the youth, and then they make a song, and they make a music video, and then they release it, and then and it's done as like a compilation album, and it's released nationwide, and it's like had like real big success. And I'm just, I was a part of the very first album, and like now I'm like one of the artists that he's believed in me. Like he's always put me on, he's always like giving me like heads up about stuff, I started working for the other program called MukGM, where I created beats with children, and it's just just being a part of that. Like I really want to do that too with like with the label that I'm trying to make with Paul. We're gonna do workshops and stuff like that.
Man, that's really excellent having one of your songs go #1, and that's also such a great service that they provide in reaching out and helping young kids in terms of their music career.
Yes, for sure.
All right, let's talk about, you had a video that went viral.
Yes, I do. It's just a really silly video, because like one day I was just bored, and I was like just listening to that song Old Town Road for like such a long time, and like I had to make a res version, like a version that was for native people, and like I uploaded it in like 2 days. It it just like got massive shares, massive reacts, massive like a lot of comments, and people. I think everybody all over Canada probably heard it, and they're probably sick of it by now.
And what are your future goals or ultimate direction for your music career?
I do want to, like, since I'm releasing this first album, I hope to release like a couple more albums. But like I also just like love being a producer. You know, like I just love the whole behind the scenes thing. You know, like I love producing. But I'm still gonna release like a lot of my own original works. But I'd love to be a producer more. I'd love to like even like pilot my own program, like Norwegian and do songs, do workshops, stuff like that. You know, I don't really have like big goals of being a huge artist, but just as long as my music is out there and making an impact, you know, that's success to me.
Absolutely. Now, what advice do you have for aspiring musicians or musicians just starting out in their music career?
You know, just be humble, be yourself. You know, make great connections. You know, because those connections in the future are definitely gonna help you no matter what. Invest in yourself for sure. Always invest in yourself. You know, don't be scared to buy this if you need it, because you do need it. You know, and it looks professional on you. It looks like you look serious about your craft if you're investing. You're buying all this stuff for you. You know, and people will love that. People will notice that. You know, and yeah, just take your stuff seriously. You know, just have fun with it.
And what's a piece of advice that you could give to up-and-coming producers?
Up-and-coming producers, there's everything you need online to learn what you want to learn, whether it's a certain technique, whether it's what to use, how to use it, you know, and, you know, be inspired by other producers, because I learn from other producers all the time. I watch Nick Mira, I watch like a bunch of Scott Storch is one of my major producers, and you know, they're just watching them on YouTube, like how they make their craft, and that's really like really helps me like see my own craft, and I always feel inspired after watching a few producers make a beat. Yeah, you know, just keep being inspired.
Yeah, that is really some great advice. You can get a lot of information from you know, YouTube and Google as far as how to do different things in terms of producing.
Yes.
Can you share your social media links?
Yes, my social media links. You can follow my page, Facebook / CJAY Music page, all in one word, CJAY, and my Instagram, CJAY.GriZ, that's CJAY.GriZ. My Twitter, CJAyOfficial819, all in one. SoundCloud, C7X-819, and my BeatStars prod by C7X.
All right, and what is the best way for fans, other artists, and other people in the music industry to get in contact with you?
If you want to contact me, you can just email me at CJAY GriZ@gmail.com if you want to like talk about beats, you want to talk about working on a project, or you want to talk about helping our label out. You know, it's all good. That's CJAYGriZ@gmail.com.
Is there anyone you'd like to acknowledge for offering financial or emotional support to your music career?
I like to acknowledge like pretty much like all my peers who have like, you know, believed in me, and you know, they never said my stuff was whack. And yeah, the whole Norwegian team, the whole Empath, Mukjian, you know, Paul Starr, our whole group of artists, you know, like we're just all supporting each other, trying to make it. And yeah, I'd like to just like, you know, thank like my brother who he's also blind, and like he taught me like my first guitar court when I was like 10, and just David Hodges. I want to acknowledge David Hodges just for being a straight A1 humble, nice guy. We're gonna do this, and I'd just like to acknowledge my new buddy Matt Mack, who's a crazy producer. You guys gotta check him out. I don't have his social media links, but I'll try to get him on the show with you sometime.
I'd appreciate that.
Yes.
Now, is there anything else you'd like to promote or share?
I think I've already promoted the record label, but yeah, my album, no release date yet, but it's gonna be titled Blue. It's produced by my boy Matt Mack, and it's also gonna have features with my buddy Jonathan Luded, he goes by Visible, and my good friend Seagun, my friend Money One. I'd like to promote my boys Mob Bounce. I like to thank Chippewa Nation for the dope bomber he gave me at Winnipeg. I like to congratulate all the Breach Man youth that participated in the Volume 7 Firemakers. They had a dope album launch party in Winnipeg, and it was crazy. And excuse me. I just like to thank everybody that's involved in helping me and helping us create music.
All right, I'd like to give a very big thank you to my guests for joining me today on the Creative Collective. As always, write your comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. And for all of your promotion, marketing, and music career consulting needs, email ennisproductions@gmail.com.